composting is a truly amazing process whereby anything that was once living can be turned into that wonderful, rich, brown substance called humus, which brings life to your garden soil through beneficial microorganisms and worms that it contains. It raises the nutrient and water holding capacity of your soil, as well as providing nutrients in its own right. So composting is something we can all get into, and what many people don't realise is that there are a whole host of different methods which can vary from an airtight bucket like this Bokashi system, which you can use in a high-rise unit. You simply put your kitchen scraps in, compact them down, and put on this brand which contains microorganisms which function without oxygen to start the composting process. So even in a really confined space, it's quite feasible to do your own composting. But if you've got a little bit more space like I have, then you can experiment with all sorts of different systems. So burying your kitchen scraps straight into your garden beds is a great way to do what I call cold composting. Or if you've got a space somewhere in the backyard, a bit out of the way, you can construct a big pile like this one right at the back, which is what I call a cold composting heap, which the earthworms and microorganisms will gradually break the heap down over a period of about a year. Or you can actually formalise it a bit with a composting bin like this one, built out of recycled fence palings. I've put a couple of trapdoors on either side so that you can lift the lid and extract the mature compost from the bottom of the heap and keep adding stuff to the top. It's your own compost magic pudding. Or you can use one of these great recycled plastic bins, which is another self-contained system. You can put a lid on to stop mice and vermin getting into your compost heap. And to keep the oxygen up to keep it composting, you can use one of those fabulous compost corkscrews, which go right down into the middle of the heap, jiggle them about to add air to the heap. All sorts of interesting methods like this can be used to speed up the composting process, something I want to teach you about in the coming months. Or if you like your compost hot and steamy, there are all sorts of techniques you can use, from a hot composting heap that's built up as a pile in your garden to a self-contained system like this one, which again keeps the vermin out. So this is what I call a compost tumbler, and it's a very easy way to aerate your compost and keep it moving. And by aerating it and putting in the right balance of materials, you'll get a really hot temperature which builds up and speeds up the composting process. Or if you've got kids, another fabulous composting technique that I can highly recommend is a worm farm. Now there are all sorts of different ways you can construct a worm farm, but these commercially available systems are fantastic, like the can of worms here. So the great thing about worm farms is that they generate brilliant liquid organic fertiliser. This stuff that drains out the bottom is one of the best balanced liquid fertilisers you can possibly have. Great for your veggies or put them on your pot plants. So as you can see, there's a whole range of different composting options, and what I want to do over the coming months is show you how to pick the one that's best for your situation and take you through how to drive that composting system to get the best out of it. So happy composting.